If you've spent the last few evenings scrolling through endless listings, watching unboxing videos, and still can't decide which live production controller actually makes sense for your workflow, this review is here to cut through the noise. I've been in the same spot trying to figure out whether a dedicated hardware panel will actually save me time at a live event, or just sit on a shelf collecting dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes I'll walk through what it feels like to run a 2-camera stream with the ATEM 2ME advanced panel, where the value really shows up, and which kind of creator should hit that Add to Cart button versus who should keep looking. Let's start with the context of why a panel like this exists. Most people who jump into live switching start out with a keyboard shortcut or a mouse-driven software interface. That works fine when you're handling a single camera or doing a quick talk-how from a desk, but as soon as you add a second camera, a graphic overlay, or a separate audio feed, the on-screen menus can become a juggling act. The ATEM 2ME advanced panel is designed to give you tactile, one-press access to the most common switching actions, especially when you're juggling two separate ATEM switches at the same time. The big question is whether that tactile shortcut actually translates into smoother production, or just adds another layer of hardware to learn. From a practical standpoint, the panel shines when you're running a 2-camera interview in a small studio. Imagine you have a DSLR on a tripod for the host and a camcorder on a slider for the guest. With the software interface, you'd typically need to click a few times to cue the next camera, engage a dissolve, then hit take to execute. The panel gives you dedicated buttons for each of those steps: Camera 1, Camera 2, DVE, Digital Video Effects, and a separate set of buttons that control the second ATEM switcher. In a live interview, those seconds matter. A missed cue can break the flow and make the edit look choppy. In my own test runs, the panel let me switch between the two feeds with a single press, and the transition happened instantly. No mouse lag, no accidental click on a wrong menu item. That kind of confidence is hard to quantify, but it's the kind of thing that makes a seasoned producer feel secure. Now, who actually benefits from that level of control? If you're a solo content creator who only needs to toggle between a webcam and a screen capture for a tutorial, you'll probably never need the extra hardware. The software switcher on a laptop does the job just fine, and you can map keyboard shortcuts to get similar speed. But if you're running a small production company, a church live stream, or a multi-camera gaming stream where you have a dedicated camera operator and need to switch on the fly, the panel becomes a real time saver. It also makes sense for anyone who already owns ATEM switches and wants a more ergonomic way to command them without constantly reaching for a mouse. In those scenarios, the panel is less a luxury and more a practical extension of the existing workflow. On the flip side, there are hidden trade-offs that can trip up buyers who aren't aware of the setup requirements. The panel itself does not contain any switching engine. It's purely an interface that talks to ATEM hardware over Ethernet. That means you need to have at least one ATEM switcher already in your rig, and you need to be comfortable configuring the network settings so the panel talks to the correct device. If you're not used to managing IP addresses, or you're looking for an all-in-one box that includes the switcher and the panel, this product will feel incomplete. Additionally, the panel has a fairly steep learning curve the first time you use it. The button layout isn't labeled with every possible function. Instead, it relies on the user to assign actions via the ATEM software control. That setup step can take 3,045 minutes if you're meticulous, which is a time investment you have to factor into the cost. Speaking of cost, the price point sits in the mid-range for professional video hardware. You're not just buying a controller, you're buying a piece of equipment that's built to survive the rigors of a live environment: metal chassis, sturdy buttons, and a layout that can be used in low-light conditions thanks to backlit indicators. In real-world use, those backlights are a subtle but meaningful advantage. During a dimly lit stage production, I could still see which camera was armed and which transition was queued without having to squint at a laptop screen. That reduces the chance of a wrong button error when you're in the heat of a live show. However, the panel isn't perfect. One practical weakness is the lack of a dedicated jog wheel for fine-grained control of transitions. If you like to manually adjust the speed of a dissolve on the fly, you'll have to fall back to the software interface.